one of my favorite things that I love doing is compiling actual like physical notebooks, because there's something incredibly anti-capitalistic about like writing down your notes, archiving, and having post-it notes and physical reminders of like the life you're living in a time when everything is such to build to like not last.
A little different than all the rest. I'm quite old-fashioned, wear a hat sometimes.
I feel like there's so much obsolescence. I think we talk about this when it comes to appliances, items, fast fashion, but I think it also comes back to our ideas. Our ideas are also they're like meant to be obsolete. And I think in a time like this, especially when digital interaction and digital way of being with each other is so common, it's so hard to archive and have a memory that feels like it is your own. Like it feels like you're losing a little bit of autonomy. I've been reading Techno-Feudalism. I'm almost done with it. It's an incredible like account of how cloudalist and like this new metamorphosis of capitalism essentially is going to I think change the way that we exist and like interact with each other, but also how we are governed. It's much more like larger arc of like capitalism changing into something else, or like dying to become something else, which is techno-feudalism. One of the reasons that book was motivated was because I was reading another book called Filter World by Kyle Chayek. And before that, I was also reading The Attention Economy, Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport. And then right now I'm reading Revenge of the Analog. I'm not liking it as much because it focuses a lot on productivity and like really capitalism centered approaches of like what the analog is back. It's very cold here, so I'm wearing my little robe. I am reading Revenge of the Analog. It's really good. I think I prejudged it. First I was like, he's talking about like how vinyl, the return of vinyl is like really shaping the way that we're missing physical media. And as someone who is transitioning into physical media for like a little bit over a year now, like slowly just trying to get like rid of everything that requires some sort of data mining, and the stuff that I listen to, the stuff that I watch. I really like this line and I just want to read it. Some of the earliest digital consoles had been used to record parts of the Abbey Road and Dark Side of the Moon, and certain musicians such as Daft Punk and Kanye West based their sounds on digital production. A computer was just a tool, but Scott felt the computer was being overused, and musicians, producers, and labels were crafting their music to suit technology's biases. They recorded safe vanilla sounds tailored to edit in Pro Tools. They got lazy. A lot of recordings has lost its soul, as Scott told me, as some bubblegum country pop played in the Starbucks where we met. It comes from head more than heart, done by looking at a screen instead of listening. No one took risks anymore. Take 5 years, the opening track on David Bowie's masterpiece, The Rise and the Fall of Ziggy Stardust, and the album Scott has engineered. The end of the song is so emotional. Scott said that Bowie literally had tears streaming down his face as he was singing it. Today, an audio engineer would smooth out those cracks in Bowie's voice with Pro Tools as he sang his heart out, even though the shaking is precisely what makes the song's finale so arresting. The video that I'm like shooting right now, I can edit it to make it like, you know, whatever, like flattened, more sanitized and stuff like that. But it does feel like these Pro Tools are actually making us less human over time, and I just really love the emphasis of that, because that is one of the reasons I'm transitioning to, like, I think one of the reasons. The other reason is because our taste is not meant to be mined by like $1 billion corporation. But anyway, I like it. I prejudged it. I just finished chapter 1, and the next chapter is The Revenge of Paper. But I think one of the most interesting parts about all of this is that I think I'm kind of having this existential dread around like how much stuff that we just don't own. I've transitioned to physical media. I've transitioned away from streaming. Like I have no streaming services that I pay for. I think one of the most revolutionary things I do is having physical notebooks and physical pocketbooks that I carry on my daily, but also having these physical reminders of like where I've been, how I thought about things. You know, I do this when I travel, like I have travel journals, but also I think I have reflection journals for everything. I mean, I feel like in the last 10-ish years, I also have really gotten into pocketbooks. And so I'm gonna show you some of the pocketbooks that I carry and why I carry them, because I feel like that's a fun video. Something about having an archive and a memory of yourself feels really revolutionary in a time when everything feels so obsolete. First one that I have is this notebook. I got it actually in Thailand, maybe less than 100 baht. This is my catch-all, I like to say. I have everything in here. I have little notes and reminders of like even just post-it notes, ideas, and even reflections of things. Like I have like a few things. I have like these things, like so when I was at the Philly Film Festival, I was like things to look up later, because sometimes we put stuff on our phone and like I don't know, something about that, like I never go back to my notes app unless like it's like been 10 years, but something about like having it physically remembered. And also I saw a study that said that writing something down is actually like a lot more useful, and you are engaging like different motors of your brain. I've been writing since I could remember. A lot about epigenetics, because my work kind of is related to the harm of the medical industrial complex, like my day job. And so I've been trying to do a lot of research on that. I went to see the Six Borough film premiering at the Black Star Film Festival, and that was really cool. I also have just like reflections, like when I was listening to Lilac Wine by Nina Simone, I was thinking about a lot of things, and just like music and jazz and like the impact it has in our like sensory and memory in general. I think one of the things that I've been working on is like a documentary about my family, and so I've also been reflecting on that. So this is sort of my catch-all, like I said. It's not organized, it's not aesthetic. But even I think the idea of aestheticizing the way that we take notes and it has to be this uniform idea feels a little fascistic to me. Maybe I'm just being dramatic. Like the archive is supposed to be like messy and imaginative and kind of dreamy, and it's not supposed to look one way or another. I think there's like, you know, I watch those videos of people making these beautiful like journal entries and stuff, but they also kind of stress me out because they make me think like I'm doing it wrong, you know. I don't know, the human brain is a psychological warfare, so it's sometimes really difficult. But I think one of the things that I'm trying to do is like, what are the antidote to honestly like capitalistic way of existing and commodification? And I feel like this is one of the ways that I do that. My cat is like playing with the light. I use also like not like a studio light or anything. I use like because I live in like the Midwest, we have like sun lamps, so that's what I use, and it actually works really well. It kind of brings like some beautiful cool like lighting. Anyways, so this is my first one, but then I also have this is like I designed this myself. I think it's so fun. It says weird is a revolutionary. Hey, stop. This is my journal entry essentially. I think it's beautiful, and I have a lot of thoughts and ideas and reflections on it. I find it very like, you know, when I'm going through this, I'm like, wow, I was very sad that day. Over the summer, I had this like summer reading list that I was like playing with. And then I was also thinking about like being intentional about my watch list. I was watching Given, if you've seen the anime, and a few other movies that I was just like, movies or shows that inspire me to live, not movies or shows that make me dread everything else. Tracking that on here, I don't think I would ever remember. But then there's also something that I got really like, I got excited about, like Kafka. If you've ever read Kafka, he was a sad boy, right? Like I think that is underplaying what he was going through, but he was very tortured soul. But one of the things that he did was he kept a journal entry, just like the date and then what he felt that day. So I started doing this Kafka-esque journal entry. I was just experimenting. It was really fun, and I did for all of the July and August. That was really fun. I was like 10, the resignation of caretaking where it piles up and you're unable to process what's happening. That's what I'm feeling today, and I'm feeling that a lot. Sometimes caretaking feels like a lot. And so stuff like that, you just don't remember that shit after it passes, right? And then I started into like morning pages because I was watching this guy. I'll try to pull him up. Like, it's this British guy, and I really like how he talks about pocketbooks. So I started morning pages. That was really nice. I start morning pages every couple of months, and it always is nice, but I don't like to stick to a routine where it feels like this productive culture, like centered approach. If I like it, I like it. It helps me. I like free will in the way that I do everything. And I stopped, I think, in probably October. I was doing like a no edibles like 3 months, and I was kind of tracking my mood around that. That was really nice too. On November 26th, I was feeling a lot, but I just didn't finish the journal entry. And sometimes it'd be like that, right? But then later that day, I found the words. Like, the words did not escape me as much. Last time I did this was yesterday, and this is not necessarily for ideas, but it's more of like my feelings, because I'm a person who like is very good at compartmentalizing my feelings. So having different ways to archive that feels really important, and a journal that feels like particularly intentional for that is like something that I'm doing for myself. And then I also have this journal, which I feel is really beautiful. So these are the daily journals I carry. This is no grids, no nothing. This is just ideas. This is ideas and thoughts, but also some notes that I'm taking. If something sparked my brain in the middle of a meeting or something, I just write it on here. I'm actually running out of space on this one because it's very scarce the way I write. I was watching a documentary about Haiti, and then I was like, what we can learn from Haiti, and I started like taking notes on that. Will I ever come back to this? Not much, but like something about the process of writing itself is very revolutionary in a time when we don't get to do that as much. And then the last thing I have is actually my gratitude journal that I got in 2020 when, like, I think actually John Green, the Vlogbrothers, I used to watch it, and one of the things that they were recommending was this gratitude journal. Krezagat, I think. This is filled. I go back to this so much. When I used to hear about gratitude stuff, I used to be very like, oh, this is so fucking cliche. Like, especially if you're living a very hard, complicated life, which most people are, it's really hard to find things that you're grateful for. But then I found myself writing about like my cat sitting next to me, the fact that I'm pain-free this night, stuff like that. And I think I am actually about 20 pages from finishing it. I started May 2020. It was a very turbulent time in Minneapolis in 2020. And I don't know, something about like the last 5 years being tracked in my gratitude and having something to be grateful for since May 27th feels magical. And so yeah, these are all the pocketbooks I carry on the regular. I don't usually carry this, I take this at home, but these I just put them in my bag, and this is what I usually carry. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.